welcome back. So, what we'll do, three topics are left as far as methods of psychology chapter are concerned. These three are focus group discussion, FGD, one. Then comes your brainstorming. Then your GT, grounded theory approach. Now, most of the questions from these are again straightforward questions. Few questions may ask you to dig deep into your basic conceptual aspects, but largely speaking these are straightforward chapters. Your research methods and methods of psychology, these two, to some extent even the measurement of individual differences in your paper too, that is also largely straightforward questions are there. What you have to do is, and what is the problem with these chapters is that the biggest hurdle is that similar type of notes are available with everyone whosoever comes to study. The same notes are available. That is one big challenge. I've tried to address it, although many of the notes you will not find in the market, but it may be available in the book format very soon. So from there you solve your notes issue. And the way it is dealt, primarily in some of the institutes the statistics is not even taught. One particular institute teaches it, but again the stats is dealt in a mathematical manner. So the combination of psychology and mathematics, statistical aspects is not done. One thing. Secondly, the unnecessary details are too many, which is naturally there for all other chapters also, but especially for the statistics part, conceptual understanding is lacking. As you see the paper of 2023, you'll realize that most of the questions are asking you to have very basal, very basic kind of understanding, and then if you have that basic understanding you'll be able to solve the question. But to understand the basics you must focus on the concepts. What is happening now is most of you see statistics in a mathematical format. The research methods and method of psychology notes are so complex, very much overlapping with each other, you feel yourself lost. So that is the major reason why many people were asking that what is the reason that although psychology is not a complex optional, many of you who choose it are having an intelligent understanding of psychology and you have a good IQ. Why is it that the marks are not good? The primary problem is with the notes and especially the way it is dealt by many of the teachers. And as I have talked to many of the students, they are of the view that the availability of the teachers are such that we have to go to one place only, and then again all of you will write the same points. The problem will be that marks will not be there. The requirement is to process the information, cut it down as I have told you in format of this CAMD, concept, application, merit, demerit. You organize your notes. Few of my students have done it who were there earlier. Those who have studied with me starting from the beginning, they follow this approach. Those who were with me at some other platform, they have done their notes in this format: concept, whatever is the concept, brief idea of the concept, what is the application, then your MD. What is MD? Merit and demerit. In this format you organize your notes, you will remember it better, you will write better points, you will be able to cover the whole syllabus. In examination you will be able to interlink the chapters because there is less matter, you can interlink with other chapter. If there is too much of matter, too much of content, and you write it without understanding, you just sprinkle the points. What happens with most of you is that you just give me the points. This will not fetch marks. You have to give this in an integrated manner. What is the integrated manner? You have to show the essence. Just give me 2-3 points, but you explain everything, elaborate everything, right in the context in which the question has been asked, and you will get more marks. Most of the toppers who score well, they process the information. They process the information in the notes according to their own way. What is requirement? The requirement is that you read certain books, NCERTs you must, Baron you must, Baron or Cicerelli one. Then you must do this Mark Twain. Unfortunately, the only book available for paper 2. Now, if you read these and do some analysis on your own, just consulting the internet, as I told you, there are some websites, simplypsychology.com. You are able to interlink the paper 1 and paper 2. You are able to give GS information, linking it with paper 2 especially of psychology, not giving only technical answers of paper 2, because of which many people get very less marks. The biggest problem with psychology marks is that many of the candidates score really well in paper 1 because of the availability of the content. They, even if they have not understood the content, if they memorize it well, end up scoring well in P1. But what about P2? P2, that is paper 2, requires you to write your answers in a comprehensive manner, express your ideas in a efficient way, use particular language, use many examples elaborately, use GS examples, the examples from daily life, that fetches you marks. This is possible only if you have precise notes, only if you have only fewer points, then only it is possible. So understand what I want to convey. The concept you understand, the application you understand, merit and demerit you have, the 4 or 5 points you have for each and every subtopic. The whole syllabus is prepared. You have the notes in your booklet, well written notes in your own handwriting. You go through that again and again, write your test, take the right feedback. The unfortunate fact is that the right feedback is very, very less available in the market. So that feedback should be there so that you improve your answers. Now coming to our topics which are there. First is your focus group discussion, FGD. Now what is this focus group discussion? I'll just give you an example. When you read the notes of focus group discussion, you will realize that in this method, in your notes, what is written, that generally it is used when a new product is launched. Now tell me one thing, this topic is mentioned in your psychology syllabus. What product you will launch in psychology? This, this is the problem with the notes. The same notes are getting repeated, old notes. Whether it is applicable for the examination, it is not being seen. So focus group discussion is used to solve the social problems. Social problems in a limited extent or limited area. In a particular neighborhood, in a particular locality, for a particular problem, like cleanliness. Cleanliness in your society. Suppose you stay in a society or a neighborhood or a mohalla. So there you are looking to ensure that it is clean. What can be the way out? To solve such problems, FGD, focus group discussion, is used. Now what happens in these focus group discussion? Mind it, watch out, pay attention. 6 to 12 participants. 6 to 12 participants are gathered from homogeneous background or heterogeneous background. Both possible here. Why did I mention this? It will make sense when we are doing brainstorming. So homogeneous groups, like similar like in a society, if cleanliness is an issue, then all the housewives who stay at home, or homemakers rather, better word, homemakers who stay at home and they see, overlook, supervise the cleanliness operations in the society, they are gathered 6 to 12, around 10. You can just take a rough idea, around 10 participants. The group is small, that is why it is called focused. It's a group discussion, of course. Why the group discussion is being done? To reach to novel ideas, to reach to new ideas. But mind it, although we are looking at new ideas, but a probable solution has already been reached. Like a solution can be in form of green warriors. Who are these green warriors? Green warriors are kids and women, largely homemakers who stay at home. So kids and women, they are employed to sensitize each and every one, each and every household in the locality to ensure cleanliness. This probable solution has been reached. This potential solution, mind the words, potential solution has been reached. What is being done through focus group discussion? Its chances of its success of this green warrior idea is being evaluated through focus group discussion, and there may emerge any new idea. That is why in your notes it is written that in focus group discussion, it is done when a prototype is available during a product launch. But you have to interpret that product launch in form of your psychological studies. So that is why a probable solution, that is prototype. Prototype is something which is the replica, which is the raw form of something big. Prototype. We make prototype missiles, we make prototype rockets. So that to understand the essence of this solution, to ensure that this solution is authentic, to understand the probability of its success, focus group discussion is done. During the discussion, it is quite possible that some new ideas emerge. So what is done here? You understood it is for the social problem. Group of around 10 members, homogeneous, heterogeneous. They may all be housewives, homemakers, or there may be retired colonel, retired bureaucrat, retired IPS, retired or working NGOs worker, social worker, all may be gathered. It may be homogeneous, heterogeneous, depending upon the availability of the participants. But if we compare it with the brainstorming, in brainstorming the main focus is on gathering as many heterogeneous participants as possible, because the main focus of brainstorming, because you see you are looking at this FGD brainstorming GT in a comparative manner. It is mentioned in the syllabus separately. You studied this in absolute detail, but you are not able to connect it. Why? Because if you read too much of details of a particular topic, how will you connect with another topic which has again been read in absolute detail? So better idea is to not to remain shallow. I'm not saying that you should just have some faint idea of it and you should not get into the depths of it, but go into the optimum depths and then compare and contrast with other topics, which is left to be done by you. But because there is so much of content, it's not possible, humanly possible, and that's why the marks are less. Okay, so if you compare focus group discussion with brainstorming, you will realize that the main focus of brainstorming is on novel ideas, creative ideas, out of box ideas, to ensure that there is group energy, There is group synergy. There may be thousands of ideas which may be created in the brainstorming. That is, focus is on quantity, not the quality. But here, focus group discussion, the main focus is on quality, not on quantity of ideas. Brainstorming fails only because, firstly, very few people have brain. That you understand? Not everyone is having creative ideas. If I tell you that compare structuralism with psychoanalytic theory, the thing is that if you are having that kind of mindset where you see structuralism by Wilhelm Wundt in a different manner and psychoanalytic approach of Sigmund Freud in a different manner, not realizing that both of them are actually looking at the structure of personality in say psychoanalytic approach and structure of the consciousness in your structuralism, you will not be able to have any kind of comparison. Unfortunate fact, not most people are creative. Actually, very few people are creative and can think of out of box. Why? In our Indian society, a major insight I am giving you, we are driven by this factor. What is this called? Insecurity. We are driven by fatalism, and that's the truth. And why so? You have to understand the society in a deep manner because see, look at the per capita income of our country. Some of the poor states like Bihar, UP, Odisha, you realize the per capita income for a year in some of these states is around 40,000, that is 3,000 a month, 3k a month, roughly 3k, 4k a month. Can you even imagine there can be a life in this amount of money? Not possible. And many people are living this below poverty line. One thing. Secondly, our roots lie in our casteism and roots are into that religious cultural roots. The following that religion, one particular religion, any of religion which masses follow, they are so much engrossed into that they have lost confidence in their own abilities. There is some superpower, of course, which runs our life, but then it is important to understand that you should have ILC, internal locus of control, belief in yourself, scientific temperament. When I ask people that do you have a plan B for UPSC preparation, the answer mostly is no. What does plan B mean? Plan B does not mean that you will not succeed. Plan B means that you are smart. Plan B means that you respect yourself more than any other examination. UPSC or any other competitive examination cannot judge your personality. A fish cannot fly. You may be made for a particular destiny, particular area. So, rather than degrading yourself, you should have a rational approach. You join a coaching believing that once you enter the gate of the coaching, when you exit the gate, you will become IS. That is not possible. I have seen students being fan of coachings, a particular coaching. You are not here to become a fan of a particular one coaching or another coaching or even a fan of any teacher. I don't say that become fan of mine or anybody else's. Become fan of your own success, and that will be achieved through success, through your scientific approach. There are certain things which are out of our hand, but still, if you plan well, if you organize well, if you plan in advance, that's why I just like the approach of many of you who are appearing for 2025 and 26. You have taken the right decision. You will prepare everything, you will plan it in advance, and then go according to the steps. You will have a better chance of cracking the examination. One thing. Secondly, just divide everything. Plan, divide everything. How much time it will take to cover polity, how much time this, that, everything. Once you are prepared, go through the PYQs, judge your own ability, where you are, work hard, put in more hours if it is required. Your performance will be improved. Just giving the motivation. What is the nowadays what is happening? Most of the people who are joining the coaching arena, they are just motivating you. But what is the motivation in wasting the whole youth and many of the young people not even cracking the exam for a particular exam? Is there any rationality involved here? The answer is no. Just take one or two attempts. That's it. If you are prepared well, you will crack it. Believe me, if you are following the scientific approach. Otherwise, it is not your cup of tea. You should not get disheartened. There are people who did not crack the exam and they have become ministers. There are people who did not crack the exam, they became like Gita Gopinath, chief economist of the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Way beyond that, many of the IAS officers. So remember this. Why did I bring in here? Because why? Why is that our approach is so lackluster? Why we don't plan? Why we don't have that ILC? Because of the fatalistic approach. It should be more scientific, more rational than emotional. You are students of psychology, so you must have this understanding. There are two parts of our system. One is your limbic system. Another one is prefrontal cortex. Limbic system gives you the emotional arousal, the motivation required to do any work. But prefrontal cortex, it is a rational part of your brain which says that plan. Once you have the balance between these two, then you will have optimal arousal and you will perform well. Yakis Dodson. You have studied all these things, apply it. Unfortunately, not many of them. Many aspirants ask me, I just want all the tests which was there in my test series and I will write it in one go. I sent all of them. Not a single test they were able to write because they are thinking too much. Plan, execute. This is the essence. This exam is more about strategy, more about your remaining sane throughout the process than anything else. So, we'll go back to our focus group discussion. You have understood that once we have the solution, a prototype solution, then only it is conducted. You have understood that once we have this 6 to 12 participants are gathered, a prototype is available, that is a probable solution is available. It is done for social problems, local social problems. Then the process which is followed is the ideas are discussed in depth. There is a moderator. Who gathers these people? The ideas, first the ice breaking is done. After the ice breaking, after the initial level of ice breaking with the most of the participants, the in-depth probing is done. Different level of questions asked. After in-depth probing, if once everyone has generated, gathered ideas, it is discussed, all the data is collected, moderated, analyzed, gathered, and finally conclusion is reached. Remember that the data which is revealed is qualitative. When I say qualitative, what does it mean? The attitude, the belief, opinion of all the participants is revealed. We are not merely looking at the numbers, which is a quantitative approach which is followed in experimental design, experimental research. What we are following here is understanding the mind of the people, the attitude of the people. Once these are gathered in a plenty, what is the meaning of a plenty? There is a time limit. This discussion does not go on and on. It remains roughly for 90 minutes. That is 1.5 hours. Prescribed time format. Whatever you want to achieve in the life should also have some time limits. That is why I always tell, and as you will see in many of the videos, because I was doing this study of neuroscience of success. So this all podcasts and videos will be released on my channel. You will realize that there is a way of success. There are certain people who are living that life of success, who are cracking all the examination, which is whether it is IIT, whether it is IIM, whether it is your AIMS examination, NEET examination, or they are reaching to IAS top positions as well, and various other exams. There are not only IAS exams, there are many other exams. So, what is the secret sauce there? It lies in the discipline, a particular way of thinking. All these things will be given to you. There is no need to worry. Now, in 90 minutes, the ideas which are gathered, they are organized in a systematic manner, and then final conclusion is reached. The reaching of conclusion is done by moderator. This is the essence of focus group discussion. There is not much in this. If you remember these points, your answer will be done according to the context of the question. Now I'll give you one example. Suppose I have given you fewer points. In place of this, if you have 10 points, you may think that your understanding has become better because you have 10 points. But when a particular question is asked in a particular context, you will not address the context, you will just write the points. The gap which is there in the content and context is covered by your understanding of the questions. You have the content, you organize this content in a contextual manner, in a context in which the question has been asked. So, with lesser content, a person ends up getting 200 rank. Another person with great content but not having contextual understanding, not having the language, believe me, language plays an important role. Not having the language, not having the organization skills, not having time management will end up sitting outside even the main examination result. Leave aside prelims. They will clear prelims, they will go to the written examination, they won't pass it. Not even appearing for interview. So this is important. Contextual understanding, organization, having fewer points. This is very important to keep your mind clutter free. Now, we have understood FGD, its essence. Let's understand its merit. The biggest merit of this FGD is, as I told you, qualitative data. Which data? Qualitative data. We are not only saying that the person is 180 kg in weight, IQ of 120. No. What is the attitude of a person regarding widow remarriage rather? What is the attitude of a person regarding child marriage? What is the attitude of a person regarding dowry? What is the attitude of a person regarding the cleanliness? As Gandhiji used to say, cleanliness is godliness. What is the attitude of the person regarding this statement? These are the qualitative things which are covered in FGD. Qualitative data, not quantitative, but qualitative. Second thing, because of this focus group discussion of a group of homogeneous or heterogeneous around 10-12 people, as we already have a prototype, already have one solution, and the probability of the success of that solution is evaluated, there is a chance actually very high degree chance that novel insights are achieved. Novel insights. That is why it's always advisable to have a mix of both homogeneity and heterogeneity in your group. Not too diverse, because that will give us a brainstorming kind of situation where we are looking only for the out of box ideas. Here we are not looking for out of box ideas, but a prototype is available, we are evaluating that. Novel insights are achieved. Now we compare it, the FGD, with the brainstorming. We realize one thing, that there is multi-level, multi-layered, multiple participation. Multiple participation. Here what we are doing, we are actually comparing it with the brainstorming. In comparison to brainstorming, it is the participation is of diverse level, because in brainstorming lesser number of people are there. Or if we do compare it with a interview with one person, sending questionnaire with one person, then this data is much more diverse, much more rich. This is the essence. Primarily these 2 points, qualitative data and novel insights, these are the major merits. Even out of these two, you have to, whenever you read any concept like this, just apply these concepts on any of the particular situation. As I have given the example of cleanliness, you can see this example from perspective of voting behavior. Now election is due for 2024. You can see how people vote, what should be there, the primary criteria of voting a party. Incumbency factor, that is the party which is ruling the country, will the same party will be repeated or not? What is the attitude of people towards a party which is focusing primarily on right wing approach? Having a diverse and different equation as far as religion is concerned, because these are the part of your GS understanding. You can bring it in here, giving examples of this. Once you apply this, it will remain frozen in your mind and you will be having very less difficulty recalling it in the examination. So do that processing. As levels of processing approach you have already studied, do this level of processing. At least one application you must have from your own side for every concept. It will remain frozen in your mind and you will have very less effort to do while you are recalling it in the examination. Now we come to the demerit. The biggest demerit of any group activity is your group think. If you try to gather viewpoints in a group, the biggest problem will be group think. And what is group think? Group think is a situation in which the dominant viewpoints influence others' viewpoint. Suppose, I'll give you an example. You join a coaching. A particular teacher who has a different style of teaching is not liked by a set of students, suppose 10 students. But these are the 10 students who are vocal. Other sincere students are not vocal, but they understand that the teacher is doing well. Now, because of the dominant voice of these 10 people, others also start losing faith in the teacher. I'm just giving you an example, practical example, what happens in nowadays, what I see in the coaching industry, what is happening. So, what's happening here is group think. The group starts thinking in a manner in which a minority of dominant voices are thinking. You get this point? Group think. Second thing is that the process of FGD, focus group discussion, is time consuming, cumbersome, time, money, and energy draining. Lots of time, money, and energy is drained just to gather people, taking their viewpoint. This is one factor. What is another factor is the results, the conclusions which are reached here are not generalizable. Generalizing the conclusion received from this is very difficult. Generalization not possible. This is the biggest demerit. Okay, this was your focus group discussion. When you are asked a question, there may be 10 marker, there may be 15 marker, 20 markers are rare to have in this. They may ask you comparison of focus group discussion with brainstorming, because grounded theory is altogether a different idea which we'll study. What are the advantages of brainstorming over focus group discussion and disadvantages? That comparison. We'll now do brainstorming and we'll compare, we'll understand the comparison. But remember only 2-3 points for each topic, which is actually applicable for most of the things in UPSC preparation. No need to go into that utter depth, because you don't need to do. See what will happen at the end of the day. Even if you know too much, one, it is consuming your time. Two, it is not going to help you when you are trying to do the interlinkages. Because interlinkages are possible only if you have optimum knowledge, not unnecessary details of any topic are required. Now we'll do the brainstorming. Now, what happens in the brainstorming is that as compared to your as compared to FGD, focus group discussion, the participants are lesser, around 6-8 participants. From heterogeneous backgrounds. Why focus is on heterogeneity? Because the researcher is actually looking at out of box solution. When we say out of box, it is simply out of box. What is out of box? I'll give you an example. Yesterday, while shining my shoes, I realized that the shoe shiner is no more there. But I had to attend an urgent meeting. So what did I do? You will be finding it funny, and many people do so. I used my hair gel, put it on the brush part of the shiner, applied it on my shoes. The shoes were shining much better than what I achieved with the brush and shiner. Here, this is simply out of box. I'm just giving you a very small example. Day-to-day creativity. This is not creativity also has different levels, you know it, and we'll do it in the intelligence chapter when we're covering the intelligence chapter. This is day-to-day creativity. Some ideas go beyond this mundane creativity. Mundane creativity, which I have shown, this is mundane creativity. Mundane or mundane, whatever way you want to pronounce it, there is no harm. Mundane creativity, what was mundane creativity? Putting that hair gel on the shoe shiner, brush of the shiner, and then ensuring that your shoes shine. What is beyond this mundane creativity, which comes after deep study, like aha moment of Keuler's monkey? Keuler's monkey got that aha moment after lots of effort. These ideas come, which are revolutionary, when you go deep into the problem and then leave it. So whenever you are looking at writing the most brilliant, I mean the out of world essay, what I suggest you to do, as many one of my student was asking for ethics answer. So what I told him is go deep into some particular topic and leave it for being processed inside your subconscious mind. After that, take a piece of paper, sit in an informal environment anywhere, try jotting down points. This is called extraordinary creativity, not mundane activity. That's quite a complex way. So, out of box solution is our major focus here. Who are the participants? Participants are not the experts. Why? As the trend goes nowadays, the UPSC is looking for some of the people who are coming from absolutely diverse background. You will realize that there are aspirants who are not that studious as they used to be earlier. They are not that studious as they used to be 5 years, 10 years ago. Many of them are coming from modeling background, many of them are coming from business background. What is happening? What is changing? The change is there because UPSC also has realized that we don't need experts. It's already a generalist service. The experts, or those who are largely the bookworms, they are not able to give extraordinary creativity, which is required to solve large scale problems in the system, which is called jugaad. You have to understand this. If you understand this, your journey will be easier and you will be a grand success in bureaucracy or otherwise. You remember, India needs people who can have this ability to create large scale phenomenal change with small sets of creativity, extraordinary creative ideas. So, what happens in the brainstorming is the participants are not supposed to be experts. Expertise, domain expertise not required. And here lies the essence. Here in this sentence lies the essence. Why I keep telling you that you have to see it from the bird's eye view. You have to see it in an integrated manner. Psychology, essay, ethics combined. How will you approach it? Then comes your another characteristic is that the brainstorming, like focus group discussion, is again moderator led. The moderator will gather these participants and they all create ideas while one person is creating the ideas, and they are encouraged to give whatever idea comes to their mind, either sitting physically across each other or electronically. There is a Delphi technique or nominal group technique, NGT, Delphi, DELPHI, where the brainstorming is done online. You don't need to remember the names, just understand the essence. Online brainstorming, even if you write online brainstorming, that's okay. So online they generate ideas. They are encouraged to generate as many ideas as they can, not looking or judging at the quality of the idea. The judgment part is not there. Judgmental approach is kept aside. As should be the approach, just giving you a little bit of wisdom. If you keep this judgmental eye of yourselves shut, your life will be much easier. Don't judge things. Do unto others as you want yourself to be treated. Show me the man, I will show you the way. Show me the woman or man, I will show you the way. That means the kind of person you approach, according to their behavior, mold yourself. There is no need to judge. Likewise, here it is moderator led, encouragement of more and more ideas is there, no judgment is done. Okay, once the ideas are combined, many ideas are generated, they again are collected at one place, collection of ideas, and after collecting the ideas, they are organized, analyzed, interpreted. Interpretation, the interpretation leads to a novel solution which nobody would have thought. Can brainstorming be done by a person sitting alone? This cannot be told brainstorming, but it may happen. You may generate newer ideas if you sit with a pen and paper in an informal environment, write down your ideas. There are many ideas you will generate. And if you are doing your group study, if you have a group, it's always good and positive to have a healthy group of aspirants around you who keep inspiring you, motivating you, and you sit with them, generate ideas for things like essay, for things like ethics paper, for things like paper 2 of psychology. It will be really, really helpful. Now, where is this applied brainstorming? Again, when we need two things, application. Whenever we need novel ideas or we need team cohesion, the brainstorming technique like T group training. T group training is done to sensitize the group. You connect it with the paper 2. In paper 2, you have sensitivity group or T group as a topic. In that, sensitization of the group is done. Likewise, to ensure the team building, the team cohesion, that they are also brought physically together at one place and asked to generate ideas. Right? So, to generate novel ideas, to ensure team cohesion, what is done? Brainstorming. This is the application where these novel ideas at any places. For in our regard, in our context, social sciences, psychology, especially for solving the problems of the society. That's the, as I've told you, the positive psychology movement, the psychology movement which propels us towards community psychology, towards psychological well-being, something which helps us achieve positive mindset, positive psychological health of the society. Brainstorming can be used. Like, I'll give you an example. There can be a question on this. India is now the most populous country in the world. Now, this demography, which we are having, is younger generation. Lots of young people in our country. That may be an asset or a disaster. Demographic dividend or disaster. Now, how can it be a dividend or how can it be a disaster? That needs to be thought upon. How can we ensure that this demography helps us achieve $7 billion, trillion rather, $3 trillion economy? Now we are $5 trillion will be very soon. Our aim is to reach to $7 trillion. How can this demography help? For these kind of problems, brainstorming is helpful. This was your application. Now, understand the merit of brainstorming. The merit of brainstorming lies in three things. One is your diversity of ideas. Diversity. Second, the speed of idea generation. So many diverse ideas created at the breakneck speed is phenomenal, and that can be done during brainstorming only. You see the energy, the cohesion, which is our another point. The energy, cohesion and enthusiasm of the participants, because they are left free. You know what is the biggest problem in our society? The hierarchic society which we have. In offices, leave aside in your government services, public services, you may seldom find anybody who is having that liberty, the liberal idea to ask for ideas from lower rungs, lower hierarchy people as your subordinates. You will never ask them to create ideas for you. Even in private sector, the kind of hierarchical mindset we have, people generally find themselves suffocated because their ideas which they find golden are not appreciated at all. So their enthusiasm, their creativity, their human capital, the potential, that dies. If brainstorming it becomes part of our culture, especially in the organizations, will there be more and more collaboration? Will there be more and more synergy? As we talk about the social energy in your paper 2 chapter, integration chapter, social integration, social energy. How will social energy be tapped? When each and every person feels that we are contributing to the nation, then only the social energy of the nation will be high. So that is why we understand that another merit is the energy and enthusiasm. Enthusiasm of the participants. Okay, now what? The demerit. Again, the biggest demerit which is there in most of the group situations is your group think. Again, the dominant viewpoint, if somebody thinks that child marriage is a good thing, or you see the discussions, where does the problem lie? Ethical problems arise when we are at the edge. If we take one type of decision, there will be losses. Another decision will also lead to losses, but maybe lesser number of losses, but the quality of the losses will be very high. In these kind of situations, the dominant voices may get prominence. Groupthink. Then, as we have already seen, the biggest demerit is the brainstorming encourages quantity. And what is our approach as psychology enthusiasts? We must focus on quality, not quantity. This is the biggest problem. Demerit. Now, see, we have covered these two. Grounded theory is there, I can cover even now, but I am leaving it just to ensure that something which is called Zeigarnik effect you must have. If something is left incomplete, that remains in your mind. So you will have that enthusiasm. GT will be taught, grounded theory, it will be taught tomorrow. Now we'll be having our classes daily, so that we finish this at the right time. Certain tests will also be conducted as and when it is required. You will have a holistic coverage of psychology. By that time you may get notes of psychology paper 1 and paper 2, precise notes which you study, which will be much easier for you, and do well in the examination, 25 examination, or maybe some of you might be appearing later also. For 24, those who are appearing for 24, for them I have already told that you should focus primarily completely on your prelims. Once you crack prelims, then only you will have the opportunity to write means. So with these words, we'll end the class here itself. Grounded theory we will do tomorrow. Apart from that, many other topics from research methods. Some topics like lab experiments versus field experiment, naturalistic observation versus observation done in a controlled setting. These things also will be covered. But if you are taking notes of these, precise notes, you will have enough fodder for you to write brilliant answers. Some of you might not have received your scripts, answer scripts, that will be given to you very, very soon. Thank you very much. We'll see tomorrow.